Hi, and welcome to Sycamore Client Manager tutorial on working with the calendar.
When you log into Sycamore, of course, you're going to be on your home page, and you have a link over here to your calendar. Also, if you scroll down past your dashboards, you will see your calendar as well. You'll see your tasks listed here. You'll see your events listed here for the next few days. And then over here on the right, you see your calendar and you see these icons. Okay, so you can access your calendar using these icons, or you can use your link up here on the left. I'm going to click on this link. And when I click on the link, usually I was playing around with this, so let me put this back to what you will normally see. Okay, okay. So normally when you go into your calendar, you're going to be on a single user view for one day. And this is what that looks like. And I'm going to see my appointments on the left here with my subject and then who I have it linked to. And remember, you always have your hover links. And these hover links can be adjusted. If you want to see different fields on here, it is a global change, so your system admin would have to do that. But the event ones show pretty good fields here. And then we see our tasks over on the right, and we talked about those in length the last couple sessions. So up top here we have a 7, and that'll give us a 7-day view of our calendar. And then, of course, a monthly view of our calendar. Okay, but all of these are showing my calendar. That's what I'm looking at by default. And you can switch to other people's calendars, and I'll show you how to do that in a little bit. But besides the single calendar, you can do a multi-calendar view. And this is when you want to see other people's calendars. Now, by default, so I'm on a 7-day view, or I'm going to go back to 1-day view. It's a little confusing when you look at it that way. So when you first come in here to the multi-user calendar, you're going to see everybody in your firm. So if you have a large firm, you're going to see a lot of people listed there. Okay, so it is a way to see what people have going on, what their availability is. Generally, depending on the rights in your system, you can hover over somebody's name and it'll tell you what the details of that particular appointment. Whether you can edit that appointment or not depends on the rights that you have to that person's calendar, and I'll show you how you can access the rights for other people. Okay, but one thing that you want to do, and we talked about this last week in creating views, is you may want to create a view for the people that you work with. Okay, so if you go in here, you can say create view, and then you can give it a name and put in what you want. So I did one over here. I'm going to say my team. Okay, and then I'm going to click on edit. And I have here, this is a sample database, so one user's name is standard and the other user's name is admin. But basically you can say full name contains, and you can put in the people's names that you want to show on that particular calendar. Okay, and then you can say that it's just visible to you or visible to other users. Now again, whether you can come in here and create these views is whether you have the rights to or not. If you don't have the rights, you can ask your system admin to create that view for you. Because if you're going into the multi-view and you're seeing everybody in your firm, it's not going to be very efficient for you. So you definitely want to have a view for that. Okay, and then this button here is your activity list. Now, this will show you, we looked at this last week for the tasks, but this will also show upcoming events. It's just another way of looking at your events that you have coming up. Again, you can create any kind of view that you want. So some people like to look at it in a list view, or they might want to print it out. Remember, you always have your print button over here where you can print out any list view, and it just gives you all of your appointments, in a list view. So you can use that as well. So if I go back to my single user view, and I'm going to go to my 7-day view, and I'm going to create an appointment for next week. So I'm going to go to my calendar up here, and I'm going to go to next week. Okay, and I'm going to go to the 29th here, and I'm going to click on the plus sign. So of course there's several ways that you can create events. This is one way. So that's going to bring me up to the 29th. It will bring me to the current time, okay, or the next hour within the current time. So if I click on that box, I will then be given a drop down. It will always default to 1 hour later, which is kind of nice, but of course you can change that. The subject, you're going to put in there whatever you want, and that's what's going to show up on your calendar. This little lookup has certain subjects that are put in there by your system admin, so if you want to request certain subjects, you can put those in there. Okay. The admin user, that's me, and that's who this appointment is owned by. Okay, so I'm scheduling it for myself, and I'm going to own it. So whoever's name is in here is the person who owns that particular record. So you can make appointments for somebody else, but they're going to own that record. So if you do not have rights to their calendar, then once you assign it to them, you can't get back to it. Okay, so people have to give you the rights to their calendar, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so you can, of course, go into this lookup, and you can look up other people and assign that appointment to them. But if it's for you, and you want to invite other people, then that's something different, and I'll show you how to do that in a moment. Now, over here on the left, I find is what most people wind up ignoring. I'm sorry, on the right, most people wind up ignoring. You want to relate your events to either contacts in your system or accounts in your system. Now, most of you use accounts. All of your clients are accounts. Any professionals that you work with are generally accounts. Most of you don't use contacts, actually. So if you want to link this to your client, you'll come over here, related to, and you're going to come up to the top of that list and say account. And then, of course, go to your lookup. And then you're going to pick your client. And that makes it so that that client's name shows up on your calendar, and so that when you go to that client's account record, remember we have the related lists at the top and we see open activities, it'll list this activity in that client's account so you can see that you have it coming up. Location is up to you, how you want to show this. Generally busy is what we want. If you're on vacation, you could say out of office, that kind of thing. Description is up to you. We can create recurring events. That's if you want to have like a staff meeting every Monday. You get this type of option here. So you could say daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. And if I say weekly, for example, then I can pick the day. And then you do have to put an ending time. Outlook doesn't force you to put an ending time, but Salesforce does. Generally, the easiest thing to do is to just say calculate the ending time, and that'll give you the maximum amount that you can put in of that recurring event. So for weekly, we can go out 1 year. So it depends on what it is you're selecting. They decide how far you can go out. Okay, so that's a recurring event. I'm going to turn that off, actually. And then your reminder. You can have reminders for this particular event, and it'll pop up that many amount of time before the event, and you can turn the reminders off if you don't want a reminder. At the bottom of the screen is where we can invite people. Okay, so I'm going to go and say I want to invite someone, so I'm going to click on select, and I'm going to put in a person's name here. So I'm going to select from users, leads, and contacts. I could come in here and say I just want to select users or leads or contacts. So even if it's a person, a professional, that you want to invite to your meeting, if you have a record on them, then you can invite them to the meeting. I'll say users, and I'll put in my name. And then I click that, and I want to add me, and then I say done. Okay, so now my name list is listed down here. And then I'm going to automatically, no matter what, you get an email if you're invited to a meeting. And then in that email, you can click on it and you can accept it or decline it. You do have to log in to Salesforce to accept it or decline it, but that is the way it works. Okay, so I'm going to say save and send update, and that'll send the update. If I do click save, I guess I did say it'll email no matter what, but if you click save, it will not send that invitation out. You can check spelling and then cancel. So you have these same buttons at the top or at the bottom. So I'm going to click Save and Send Update. Okay. And then there's my appointment on my calendar there. And I can go back to it. It's going to pull it up. Okay. And then once I go back to it, I can see that Denise was invited, but she hasn't responded yet. So it'll give you a little synopsis down here of who has replied and accepted and who hasn't, which is really nice. And you can see that up here as well.
And that is how you manage your calendar in the Sycamore system. Please see our other related tutorial called Create and Manage Tasks. Thank you.